Hi, this is Brant from TradeGuild.blogspot.com, and it is very early Monday morning. I was just getting ready to go to bed, and I decided to run a scan and just see what was going on in the market, if anything interesting came up, and lo and behold, something interesting did come up. I was getting a lot of hits on oil and energy just all over the place, pretty much. In the top 10, there was probably 8 of them that were energy related. And I think metals to some degree trade in similar fashion with energy. So gold popped up, metals and mining and non-metallic mining popped up. So I figured I'd just show you a couple of these ideas I came up with. Back in September, I had some posts in early September, and I was basically saying that, I think this trend line was not going to hold, or we were going to at least in August, I was talking about a test of that trend line, and when we got in here, we saw that it's just not going to hold. So basically, my opinion, maybe I'm conspiracy minded, but my opinion was that we were going to see continued deterioration in energy until the elections in November. My belief is that the incumbents in power, the Republicans, it's in their best interest to stay in power by having gas prices low. People going to the polls paying $3 or $3.50 a gallon are not going to be happy people. They're not going to be happy voters, and it would make it very difficult, I think, for the Republicans to maintain control of Congress. So, it's a very tight race, and that little edge, and I think it means a lot, and I think they do have the influence to move prices a little bit in that fashion. Maybe I'm conspiracy minded, but that's my idea. So here we are close to the elections, and price over here is really starting to stabilize in oil. I'm going to show you gold real quick. And here we go. And gold, looks pretty darn good recently too. We're getting some higher lows and higher highs over here. So I guess that's why we're kind of seeing these pop up on some scans, breaking through some resistance in those areas. So I'm going to show you a couple of ideas just randomly. I just have them on a watch list. I haven't organized my thoughts really too much on these, but we're just going to go with them as I have them. So a lot of these charts are looking kind of interesting, and here's a gold stock, KBX. Now I'm going to show you the industry group. There it is. So we're roughly tracking that industry group, and I think this is really an interesting chart because we're seeing a lot of these green spikes recently in volume, and I always say volume precedes price. You're going to see something happen in volume before you see it happen in price. Now this particular stock, here's a little closer view here. It's pretty far extended now in my opinion, so maybe we get a pullback in the next couple days and week or so, and maybe this 210 area somewhere in here might be a good area to buy. It might just pull back to like that 10-day moving average, which is right here in yellow, and that's probably going to be somewhere around 210 by the time it gets there. But KBX, it's a smaller, it's a cheap stock. It's a $2.25 stock, so they can be speculative, but I kind of like how that chart looks. So let's see what we have next here. GGR, which is Geo Global Resources, and here's what's going on here. This one looks really good. This is oil drilling and gas exploration, and this is a rounding bottom. I love rounding bottoms, by the way. You can see this kind of bottom in here, and you can see it in the volume over here. See this rounding in the volume along with this base. So this is actually acting much better, I think, than oil and gas industry. Here's the sector in red, and you can see how this stock has been performing. So this is not one of my laggard plays that I would that I kind of like to trade, but it is a decent looking stock, and it has pulled back over here. We have this little doji day right there, which is a sign of a potential reversal, and we have this little upthrust day. It's not a real strong day, but I think maybe we're going to see some follow through on that. As you can see here, time segmented volume has just been in a nice uptrend ever since June and the same pretty much from July on in BOP, and you know, Money Stream is in gear. So I like this stock. I think it's probably at a pretty reasonable level around 750. I'll show you my stop channel on this one real quick. I'm just going to widen that out a little bit. And so my stop right now is somewhere around about 670 or so. So GGR is one to keep on the list. It's already moving, but you know, it's kind of a leader in this sense. So let's see what else we have here. CNVR. This is computer software, multimedia and graphics software. Has really had a nice move here. You can see it in red, and this stock hasn't really done much. It's actually been on a pretty strong downtrend, and you might think, you know, well, why are you featuring it? Well, let's take a little closer look here. I think I'm seeing some green volume in here. I like these days. I like these big green volume days, and we have a little hammer there, which you know, they say hammering out a bottom, so it's possible that we're seeing a little bottoming action going on here. And another thing I like too is this MACD. You see the shallower lows as we make lower lows in the stock price. So that's a MACD divergence, and usually when you get 1, 2, 3, typically you can look for a turnaround somewhere in that level. So this is really early and it's really speculative, but I think one way to trade this stock is you might say, okay, we'll buy here at 448 or whatever, and we'll have a stop down here at the bottom of this hammer. I don't know, I kind of like the way this chart looks. You can see, you know, we don't have like really intense buying going on in the indicators, but what you can see is a lot less selling as we're making new lows, and TSV is moving up as well. So CNVR is one to keep on your watch list. Here's another one, TRGL. Let's see, I'm not sure why it's not coming up here. Let's try this again. There we go, TRGL. And this chart, I think maybe, I don't know, you know what, it had a pretty nasty day here. Yeah, you know what, let's skip TRGL. I'm not into that. BMD. Let's see what we have with BMD. Oh, you know what? My bad. I don't know what happened there. TRGL. I was kind of wondering what I was doing there. Okay, so here it's shaping up. It looks a lot different than it did back then in June or July or wherever I was. So we're making higher highs, higher lows in this stock. You can see that volume has really ticked up. I think this chart is shaping up nicely. This is independent oil and gas, and if you look at the industry group, bottomed out over here in June, and it made a little bit of a higher high over here. So we're just bottoming out here. In my mind, you know, this is a laggard play, but there's that green volume I like. And you know, look at MACD over here. We're making lows over here, and then we have a shallower low down here. It's not the true, you know, three-part divergence that I like to see, but this chart is shaping up nicely. It had a nice little pullback here the other day. Let me show you a little bit closer. And it's starting to bounce up. So maybe you want to buy it on a breakout of 22 and have a stop down here at 2050 or so, or maybe 2020. But I think that looks pretty good. And let's see how many more I got here. BMD, I'm starting to run out of time. BMD is non-metallic mineral mining. That's what I was telling you about earlier. And POT is the stock that's driving this group. But this is a very interesting chart, in my opinion, that rounding bottom that you're seeing right in here with the volume. And it's starting to make these higher lows and higher highs. So maybe this chart pulls back a little bit. I'd like to buy it maybe around that 10-day moving average at about 380. So that's one to keep an eye on. I am going to come back with one more video. It'll be a short one.